Beyond the Robot, Reducing Cost and Risk in the Da Vinci Robotic Instrumentation. Podcast Episode 1. Hello, and welcome to Beyond the Robot, a podcast that takes a closer look at the technology driving modern surgery and systems that support it. I'm your host, Nikki, and today I'm focusing specifically on the Da Vinci robotic surgical instrumentation. The Da Vinci system has revolutionized surgery by allowing increased precision, smaller incision, and faster recovery for patients. However, behind every successful robotic case is a complex reprocessing workflow that directly impacts patient safety, hospital costs, and surgical efficiency. In this episode, I'll be discussing the high cost of the Da Vinci robotic instrument damage, why most of the damage happens outside of the operating room, and what hospitals and sterile processing departments can do to reduce repairs, prevent delays, and extend instrument life. So, what makes the Da Vinci instruments different? The Da Vinci robotic instruments are significantly more complex than traditional surgical tools. These instruments contain wristed joints, intern- internal cables, installation layers, and electronic components that allow for precise movements within the patient. Most Da Vinci instruments are also limited use devices, meaning each instrument is approved for a set number of uses before it must be replaced. So improper handling or damage can cause an instrument to be removed from service early, resulting in an unexpected cost. So basically, if anything happens to this instrument before its number of uses are up, then that's an unexpected cost for the hospital. So additionally, many Da Vinci instruments cannot be fully disassembled, which makes thorough cleaning and inspection more challenging. So it just makes it harder on the SPD because they're not able to be fully disassembled. The combination of complexity, limited use, and high replacement costs makes proper reprocessing absolutely critical. So it's just making it harder for us um, to do the job that we need to do, but for us to do our job properly, it causes some damage sometimes. So, one of the biggest challenges that the hospitals face is the with the Da Vinci systems is instrument repair and replace costs. A single damaged robotic instrument can cost several $1,000s to repair or replace, and repeated damage can quickly strain a hospital surgical budget. So if we're going ahead and continuously cleaning these tools and we're damaging the tools while cleaning the tools, which is not intentionally, but it's giving that unexpected cost, it can strain the budget. So with the budget being strained, here comes budget cuts. And nobody likes to see when budget cuts coming, unless it's helpful, but that wouldn't necessarily be helpful for us. What is often overlooked is that most Da Vinci instrument damage does not occur during surgery. So as I was saying, instead of it occurring during surgery, it occurs, the damage frequently occurs during like transport, manual cleaning, inspection, or storage and sterile processing. So for us to try to make sure safety for our patients is that we're cleaning really hard to get all the debris and the blood and stuff off, but at the same time, we are damaging that tool or knocking it out of the race for its number of uses, so that's going to have to be replaced earlier. So, from a patient safety standpoint, damaged instruments present serious risk, and those risks comes with a lot of health scares for that patient. So you can have installation failure, cracked components, it can retain debris, can lead to an electrical injury, surgical complications, or infection if damage is not identified during the inspection. So just not properly cleaning it can cause all these other things to happen, but if you properly clean it too bad, then it knocks it out of the number of uses that you have for that. So with that, saying that, it just makes proper handling of the Da Vinci instruments both a financial responsibility and patient safety obligation. So, where failures commonly occur, there are several points in the workflow where the Da Vinci instruments damage commonly occurs. So, first is point of use care. When instruments are not wiped down and kept moist immediately after surgery, bioburden can draw onto delicate joints and surfaces, making cleaning more aggressive and increasing the risk of the damage. Basically, what I was saying earlier um, is that if it's not done properly, then it just makes it harder on the back end. Second is manual cleaning errors, using incorrect brushes, applying excessive force, deviating from the manufacturer instructions for use can easily damage internal mechanisms. The third is inadequate inspection. Da Vinci instruments require careful visual inspection, often with magnification. Rushed workflows or insufficient training can allow cracks, fraying, or installation damage to go unnoticed. And for the fourth and final, commonly where the failures commonly occur from, is improper transport and storage, such as stacking instruments or allowing them to contact each other, can cause bending or impact damage. So then we know that they're not supposed to touch each other, or we know that we're not supposed to stack them. So if we're doing these things, we have to revert and go back to where the training comes in, because if we're trained properly, then we know better than to do these things. And sometimes I get it, we get into these little routines, but we have to do what's best for the patient. So the practical and preventable thing we can do to prevent this is most of the Da Vinci instrument damage is preventable. So here are some things that we can use to go ahead and prevent those things, those four statements that I just said. We can prevent those from happening by being preventive. The first solution is consistent manufacturer specific training. Both operating room and sterile processing staff must understand the Da Vinci instrument IFUs and handling requirements. Annual competency validation is essential. So basically, again, it all goes back to the training. Your second solution is a strong collaboration between the OR and the SPD. When both teams understand the cost and complexity of these instruments, accountability improves and damage decreases. So, once everybody in the room knows this is costing the hospital money, which essentially is costing us money or taking money out of our pockets because we are the ones that are messing these things up because we're not cleaning them properly, or we're not storing them properly, once everybody's on that same page, it makes working a little bit easier and accountability a little bit easier because everybody knows what's expected of them. Third, another critical solution is enhanced inspection practices. Use your proper lighting, magnification, and sufficient inspection time helps identify damage before items are returned to service. Before instruments are returned to service. Hospitals can also reduce costs by using a instrument tracking system to monitor usage counts, damage trends, and repair frequencies. And mostly important, facilities must foster a culture of respect for robotic instrumentation. Sterile processing professionals should be empowered to stop the process when the IFUs are not followed without fear of pushback. So that means if I am seeing someone do something wrong, I need to say something because that's not how it's done. Because if you're not doing it the proper way, again, we're going to revert back to you're costing us money. Let's not cost us money. So why does it matter? When the Da Vinci instruments are handled correctly, everyone benefits. Patients receive a safer surgical care. Hospital reduce unexpected repair costs and case delays. Staff gain confidence and pride in their role as patient safety advocates. Robotic surgery may happen at the surgeon's console, but its success depends heavily on what happens before and what happens after the procedure. So here are some key takeaways just for me to go ahead and summarize everything. The Da Vinci instruments are complex and costly, very much costly. Most damage occurs during reprocessing, not surgery. Training, inspection, and communication are essential. Protecting the instrument protects the patient. I'm going to say that again. Protecting the instrument protects the patient. So as long as we're protecting the instruments, everybody's being held accountable for what they're doing in the OR or in the SPD, everything should move and go as planned, and we should not have any of these costs. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Robot. Once again, I am Nikki. I am a student, and I'm excited to go ahead along my journey and be in the SPD so I can see how this works. If you work in the sterile processing, the operating, or surgical surgeries, take a closer look at how the Da Vinci instruments are handled in your facility. Small changes in practice can lead to safer care and major cost savings. Excellence in robotic surgery doesn't stop when the robot powers down. I appreciate you all for listening today. We'll be back at a later date with an episode 2.